Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In this video I basically want to put everything together and solve a programming question. Again, you will see this a lot in your programming careers. You'll be given a task to do and you're required to solve it and write the code for it. So in this case, here is the file. Again, it's linked in the description for those of you guys who want to visit it. So as you can see, this program says write a class named house that prints the following sentence. Your program must produce the exact outputs, e.g., lines needed in order, etc. Uh, the lines to produce are highlighted. So as you can see, we're supposed to print out I am tired, as well as I hate poison, as well as coding is awesome. And pay attention to the quotes. Again, those are not mistakes. And pay attention to the empty line right here. We're supposed to print this exactly the way it's supposed to be printed with quotes as well as with the same caps. So some of them have caps, some of them don't have caps lock, and we're required to produce an empty line between the first two sentences and the last sentence. We're supposed to produce a line between them. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The thing I like to do every time I write the program is I like to just copy everything entirely and go to the IDE that I am working off of. And most likely, majority of the time, you're going to be writing new files. So what you do is you open up a new file, you create a new Java file, and the first thing I do is I paste in the question that I'm asked, and I click enter just in case, to make it seem to make sure that I can see what I'm printing out. And then again, I put it in comments. We talked about multi-line comments. So that way I can see exactly what I'm required to produce. And again, let me just go ahead and fix the quotes here because this is just the Java. This is just a weird way of how JGAS works. When you copy and paste quotes from a different file, it will treat it as like a weird special character, which I don't want to talk about. But when you're every time you're copying and pasting things that have quotes inside of it, make sure to fix them manually. Again, it's just like a weird thing that I don't want to talk about of why that is. Again, if you're wondering what issue would occur, go ahead and run the program and see for yourself. But yeah, this is the first thing I always like to do. I always copy the programming assignment that I'm solving or any programming task that I'm solving, and I paste it in my IDE. And then I go ahead and read it line by line. So write a class named house. So, and then I dissect every little detail that I'm given. So in this case, I know I'm supposed to be writing a Java class, and we talked about how the Java class should be named whatever name you want. But in this instance, it told us what name to give it. So it's important to follow every single detail in the directions so that way you produce exactly what the program is asking you to do. If you, for example, don't name the class the way the class named, it's considered wrong. You may fail test case if there are test cases. So yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So we talked about how a Java class is supposed to be declared. We go public class, and then the name of the class should be house. So let me just go ahead and copy it. And then we talked about how we need opening curly brace. And what I do is I always close it right away. I just have a bunch of enter to indicate like I'm gonna have some program. And here we're asked to name the class house, and we did exactly that. So we basically answered the first part. And so let's keep reading. So the program prints the following sentences. Your program must produce the exact output, e.g., lines needed, the order, etc. So it's telling you you must match it exactly. Already right away, I know I'm going to be printing something, and I know I'm going to be dealing with system.printlns. And as I can see, I have an empty println. We talked about how to produce an empty println. We need some sort of a blank println with nothing in it. We also talked about there's quotes. We can see some of these sentences have quotes. I know I'm going to be using some sort of illegal escape character we talked about in the last video. So let's go ahead, and I know right away that I'm going to be producing some output to the console, so I need a main method. So let's go ahead and do that. So public static void main. Again, we talked about the reason why we need this is because this is how you will be able to run your main method and be able to produce output or do something that your program is expected to do, and it needs to go through the main method. We talked about that in a couple of videos ago. So if you want to understand and get more detail and explanation, I would perhaps watch that video. So let's go ahead and write public static void and then the main method, blah, blah, blah. It's like this, opening curly brace and a closing curly brace. And I know right away that I'm going to be printing out this sentence, so I'm going to be dealing with some sort of println. So let's just do that system.out.println. And I know I have to print out this sentence. Again, this sentence is relatively easy, mainly because there's no quotes. I don't have to do any legal escape character. I can just print it out directly. And how you print it out is just with quotes. Close it, and then close the quote with the semicolon. We'll just go ahead and run this. Again, I talked about how to save it. Again, because we named the class house, the program will automatically know what file to save it as. And if I click save, and if I run it, if I click compile, and if I run it, you can see it saved it as I am tired. But we're almost done solving the problem. We just have to print out these other lines. We can go ahead and do the same thing. We can print this out. So I can do system.out.println. I can print this out. And then I need to have an empty println. So let's just go ahead and do that. System.out.println. And then I need to also print this out. And we're done. Some of you guys probably watching this video or probably watched the last video are probably going to know what's going to happen. For those of you guys who are already this far, you already know what's going to happen up to this point. So let's go ahead and run it. It's always a good idea to always run your code. And we can see we have a whole bunch of issues with line 14 and 16. So let's just go line 14 and line 16 have issues. Every other line seems good to me. At least that's what the compiler is telling me. So as you can see, we have issues right here where we're trying to print out quotes inside of quotes. Yes, for those of you guys watching this video and yelling, yes, you need to have a legal escape character. That's correct, which we talked about in the last video. And in order to do that, you need to have the slash before the quote and then the slash right here. Same thing for this one. And then close it here. And then where are we going to close it? We close it here. So we have another closing quote. And now if I go ahead and compile this and run it, there we go. We produced exactly what the program told us to do. Again, I haven't covered anything new here. I'm just using what we've covered in the last couple of videos. Hopefully you understand this video and found clarity of how to solve these type problems. And I'll see you in the next video.